Good evening, everyone. This is Christy Pratt. I'm glad you could join me for our training this evening, and happy that you could take some time to continue on our advanced agent training for this week. As you know, if you tuned in last week or if you listened to the recording last week, we have started our series on annuities. Last week we went over what annuities are, the kind of annuities that we can write, and the differences between them. So this week we're going to continue on with annuities and talk over some specific products and even illustrate an annuity that we have, one of probably my favorite ones with Fidelity and Guarantee. So we're just going to get right to it. When we think about annuities, I think of it kind of like this, where, we insure pretty much everything that we have. We insure our homes, we insure our cars, we insure our health. We pretty much insure everything. So I always think about it like this. Why don't we insure our retirement, right? If we insure our retirement, that gives us a better handle on what we're going to be able to have and get at retirement. So what are we doing? I mean, when we look at annuities, who are the people that we are trying to help? Let's say you're sitting down doing a CNA with a new Tranont associate, and they have an old 401k, or maybe they're a teacher and they have a 403b. Or maybe they have gone to the bank and they have established an IRA or a Roth IRA. These are all of the accounts that if people have, we can help them more or less insure their retirement accounts is really what we're doing. And so as we talk over the reasons that we would do this, honestly, one of the biggest reasons is it's going to give no market risk. If we do an indexed annuity, we're going to give them income in retirement that's guaranteed, right? And they are not, throwing away their money. They're continuing to grow it tax-free. But really, we're bringing certainty into an uncertain marketplace for them, right? We're giving them more of a leg up in the game. So who are the people that we can help? Anybody who has old qualified accounts, such as 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, Roth IRAs, clients who want to take on less market risk, so they want to maybe protect that bottom line as we show them things in the IUL, very similar to that. Clients that want income in retirement, meaning they have a guaranteed income base for their retirement, and a lifetime withdrawal benefit. That's the same thing, where their money will always be there. They'll take the same amount every year for the rest of their life, no matter what. Even if their account is drained all the way to zero, they have that guaranteed withdrawal benefit. And then those who want to keep their money growing tax deferred, they don't want to pull it out, they want to keep it growing, it's earmarked for retirement. Clients that want protection of principal and growth on the investment, and many of these plans have supplemental long-term care, meaning you can get access to your money and use it for if you were in a confined situation, nursing home type thing. And then also options for guaranteed income, which we mentioned before, income that you can't outlive. And I mentioned last week that one of the biggest fears that seniors have is that they will outlive their money. Okay, so in indexed annuity products, this is what you're going to find most of the time in most companies. You're going to find a full protection of your principal. You get to participate in the upsides when the stock market is climbing, but you also get to protect yourself against the downside turns since you're earning a guaranteed minimum. It will give you minimum returns even if the stock market prices fall. Index gains that are permanently locked in. You have income riders, confinement care type benefits. You get to plan for the future income needs. You have safety of premium and options for guaranteed income that you can't outlive. And of course, this is still growing, tax deferred. So here are some of the products that we have with Fidelity and Guarantee listed here. Now there's a couple that I don't have listed here, and I've only not put them here because it varies from state to state. So we have Performance Pro, we have the Prosperity Elite series. There's a 10, a 7. Some states have one that's called the 14 that really has to do with the bonus that you get and the surrender period. Safe Income Plus, FG Retirement Pro, and Index Choice 10. So those are the ones that they offer. But we're going to focus our evening on Performance Pro, and I want to talk to you about the product features that Performance Pro has. So kind of the same as what I was saying, generally speaking, minimum guarantees that protect your principal. They have 6 different index-linked interest crediting options, and they have downside protection. Again, this is an indexed annuity, so your principal will never be taken away, neither will your interest that you accrue on that account. It adds and you build and compound that interest. You have the ability to elect the guaranteed minimum withdrawal benefit rider that guarantees a level lifetime income without the need to annuitize. So additional charges may apply to that to be able to have that benefit. In Utah, they charge you 0.95% for that added benefit. So check if you're in different states, check to see what that is for your clients before you show them this product. Liquidity for life's unexpected events. Surrender charges are waived for any type of home health care if you are diagnosed with a terminal illness or a nursing home confinement. These riders, which are pretty much addendums to the contract, they provide full access to your account value without any penalty. So even in year 1 or year 2, if this happens for your client and they have to have access to that money, they can have it. So you have to make sure, though, if you're in a different state or if you're helping a client in a different state, that you get all of the available information on that state prior to helping them. And the last one, or the last 2, guarantees. So the guaranteed minimum surrender value is the minimum you would receive if you surrender your contract. That's just showing you that you have minimums on your policy guaranteed. And this is also meant to provide a known value, a floor, and most of the products have this type of floor. Okay, so some of the products which we went over, the reason I even put this slide is, the reason I'm only going over Performance Pro is the other ones really function the same way, right? They have more of a guaranteed roll-up option, at least in Utah, the Prosperity Elite Series, they have a 7% roll-up option. So they have that's their guarantee that they get each year based on, remember, that retirement income base. So it's like your retirement paycheck. That's what we're talking about here, is you're guaranteeing that growth on that, which is a 7%. Now, Performance Pro acts a little bit different. They have a guarantee which is 3.5%, but you also get to participate in the index growth, which means that based on how well the markets perform, you can actually make more money than 7%. So for people, and when I say other products, for clients that you have that may want something a little more safe and a guarantee, they don't care if the markets go up or down, they really just want a 7% roll up, then maybe look at one of these other choices. But Performance Pro is for somebody who does like to have take a little, maybe not, it's not risk, I hate to even use that word risk, but play the markets a little bit, see if they can get a little more income for their retirement benefit. So that's why I'm going to show you Performance Pro, because I like that unique feature that you can even possibly get more interest than even the 7%. These are the other 2 that they have. Okay, so I want to flip over now and show you on the FG website where we are going to go to illustrate this. So if you go to the FG website, most of you, and probably all of you are familiar with this website. You're just going to go to the same illustration that we did with the Index Universal Life, and we're going to start a new case. You'll put in your client's name here. And this guy here is age 50 and he's a male. You're going to want to make sure that you pick the state that your client resides in, which we're not going to illustrate Vermont. We're going to really illustrate Utah right here. And then the product type, because this is a fixed indexed annuity, that's what we're looking for here. Right here, fixed indexed annuity. So you'll mark that, and then you'll come over here, find available products. So you'll see in Utah here all of the choices that we have. So if you were going to be looking and you've already got all the information that you want on the FG Accumulator Plus 10, and that's what you want, you would select that. It's going to illustrate. If you want to know if something looks better, so for instance, let's say we illustrate Performance Pro today, but you want to see if one of the Prosperity Elite series works and performs better based on the actuals or the historicals that they use to base the additional interest for Performance Pro. We can go and put it side by side, this one and then this one, and go back and illustrate, and you can see it. You could even go line by line if you wanted to. So here we go with Performance Pro, which is what we're going to show you today. So we select that. And right here, you're going to need to know if this money is tax qualified or not. If you have somebody who just has a lump sum of money and they want to put it into an indexed annuity, you can help them do that, but you wouldn't want to mark tax qualified. This is for qualified accounts that we went over, 401k, IRAs, that kind of thing, where they will have a tax responsibility when they go to take the money out after age 59 and a half. Okay, so this guy has $90,000. And if you want to add money, so annuities are not all the same, right? You have some that you can add additional premium to. Some of them you can't add additional premium for a year. You just have to get in and kind of understand your product. This one you can add additional money to. One thing to be aware is they do give you a bonus on that income benefit rider. Okay, so that's what the bonus is attached to, is the Enhanced Guaranteed Minimum Withdrawal Benefit rider. Right down here, this EGMWB, that's what that stands for, is Enhanced Guaranteed Minimum Withdrawal Benefit. Remember, that's the 3.5 that I was just mentioning, is the guarantee plus the add-on rate. So if you wanted, if you put this lump sum in, they're going to give you a 7% in this product bonus just to stick your money with them based on that income benefit rider. Okay. Now, if you wanted to add additional money, so let's say this guy's got a $90,000, it is tax qualified, he wants to add some money to that, he can do that, but he does not get a 7% bonus for new money that he puts in. The 7% bonus is only on the initial premium that he puts in the beginning. Okay, but if you were going to add more, this is where you would do it. Specified premiums, if you click on that, you're able to say, okay, well, he wants to put another $6,000 per year, and you can help him with that. That's a good place. If someone who doesn't qualify for an IUL, you may want to show them this and show them how their money can grow here too. That's where you would put it, okay? Okay, so premium allocation now. If you hit detail, you're going to see all of the different fund names that they have in this particular product, and to the side of it you're going to see that you're going to need to put in the percentages. Okay, so the first one that you see here is the S&P 1-year annual point-to-point with cap. This is a good one, so we're going to leave, well, let's see, we're going to put 25% this one. You have the choice then of a 2-year spread and a 3-year spread. What that means is they're going to calculate and track interest, but they're going to track on the 2-year here. They're going to track it for 2 years and then credit interest based on the interest that they've tracked over the 2 years. Same thing with the 3-year, and the same thing with the 1, and they track it for 1 year, and then 2 years, 2 years, and 3 years or 3 years. The S&P 1-year monthly point-to-point with cap, we're also going to put some money in that one. What they do there is they have a monthly cap, and I believe on this one it's a 2% cap, which means whatever interest is earned on a monthly basis up to that cap of 2%, they track that from month to month to month, and at the end of the year they look at the interest based on each month, they add those up, and that's the interest that you get put into your account. So we'll put 25% in that one. Gold, who knows how that will do. It's the same gold standard index that we have on the IULs. So we'll put 10% in that. And the Dow Jones U.S. Real Estate Risk Control 10% Index is also one that we have in the IUL. So we're going to put in 40% there. Just understand, though, that this is a 5-year spread on this one. What that means is, like I was just saying here, a 2 and a 3 year where they track the interest over that period of time. They do this with the real estate as well. So you have a 5-year spread before, so they track all that interest and then credit it once the 5 years is up. So you're not losing anything, you're actually getting that interest from year to year to year, but they take that average. Okay. So we're going to hit OK. Just make sure that the number goes to 100, which it did, but you can see that I hit OK before it calculated. So once it says total of 100, hit OK. And we're not going to put this withdrawals, we're not going to illustrate that, we're not doing any withdrawal options. So just make sure that this enhanced guaranteed minimum withdrawal benefit rider is marked, and we'll hit illustrate. Okay, now this is a ginormous report. Just so you know, it's, I can't remember how many pages, 21 pages. And I am going to show you today how to add your agent name right here. You see where this says prepared by, fill a name. I forgot to do that last time, so I'm going to explain how you do that. We're going to scroll down here. This is going to show you just some basic information about the company, the interest crediting options, what they all mean, the ones that we just went over, the 2-year, the 3-year, the gold. So you can glance through that and read it. If you haven't read it before, then for sure go through and read some of this information. You can find the information if your client asks you right here in some of the explanations for the different index choices. It's telling you the different type of annuity options, which you should all understand based on being a licensed agent. Understand that the minimum distribution is 70.5%. That's the age that you have to take distributions. And if you look at this page as well, 4 of 20, here is your surrender. Right? So in the first and second year, if you were to take your money out of this, you would lose 9%. Years 3, you would lose 8%, and then so on and so forth down the line. Till after year 10, which is a 10-year surrender, then after year 10, you would have no surrender. This is also showing you where it's talking about the home health care rider. You see that, so you can pull your money out. Now, they also have a terminal illness rider, a nursing home benefit rider. And by the way, if you die before you actually go to get that benefit of income from this particular annuity, the death benefit goes to your family. Okay, here's this is the vesting bonus feature. Remember we were talking about Performance Pro having the bonus is a 7% and is calculated on a percent of all premiums received in the first contract year. That's your 7% bonus. So it's saying you're fully vested after 10 years to have that 7% bonus that they gave you in the beginning. It's nice to have that in the beginning because then you're compounding and growing interest all the way through. But it is a 10-year, coincides with the surrender on this plan, and it has to do again with the enhanced guaranteed minimum benefit rider right there. Okay, so that's what they're saying. And here's the charge we were talking about before, the 0.95% in Utah. And then you are building your first year at 3.5%. Okay. All right, now I want to show you page 7. Okay, here is all the interest crediting options that we were just trying to allocate before, right, when we were setting up the illustration. So if you want to see what the spread or the cap rate is, you can come right here. So you can see where we put money in the S&P 1-year annual point-to-point. That cap is 4.5%. So in 1 year, they're not going to make more than 4.5%. But if you add that to the 3.5, you can see what their total interest credited would be. The monthly point-to-point, yep, it was a 2% monthly cap, which means that in a month, you can't have more than 2% each month. If each month you made 2% and they added that up over 12 months, well, then you would have a 24%. Okay, so the S&P 2-year, you can see that that's 9.5. And the 3-year, it's 16%. Again, they track, so it cannot get more than 16%. The gold annual point-to-point, so each year the cap is 5%. And remember the 5-year Dow Jones Risk Controlled Index is 14%, and we've allocated 40% into that one. The fixed account, which we don't have any money in, is 1.5%. So if you have somebody who wants to put money in a fixed account, well, there you go, 1.5 cap. Now make sure, if you haven't looked at this in a while, caps and spread can change, right? So you want to make sure that you're looking at this and understanding where your caps are when you're explaining this to your client. Okay. Now we're going to get into right here. This is page 9. This is showing you the aggregate account summary based on guaranteed rates. So remember your 3.5, you've added your bonus in here, your 7%, but this is saying that it's only building the benefit, the income benefit rider, so the income that you receive from this money, you're getting a guarantee of 3.75%. So it's not showing you any other growth beyond what is the guaranteed rate. So let's take this to age 70. Okay, so he wants to start making a withdrawal at age 70. He's put his 90,000 rollover in here. He's got right here, if you'll see here, his guarantee now is 5.75. You can see that his account right here on the income basis is where he's got his bonus. Right here is $154,000, and if he was to take a lifetime withdrawal at that point, flip the switch on, and now at age 70 he will get $88.98 each year as annual income. So that is just based on the guarantee. That's it. And you're going to see that it starts out in the beginning, right, and it just grows each year. So it's one of those things that you watch every year for your client to see, okay, is this the year that we need this income turned on, right? Because the longer you wait, the more of a base that you're going to have for that income. You can see the critical years where it changes, right? So at year 4, it switches over, and not switches from 3.75 to 4.25%. And then again at age 65, now you're at 5.25, and then of course 70, 5.75, and again 775. So approximately every 5 years. You can see here too what the death benefit is. It's exactly what's in your account. So if you were to die year 1, your beneficiaries would get this money. And you can see it goes down because the market is not growing. This guarantee is only based on the income that you would be showing. So it's not showing any market growth. They're taking away the fee each year, that 0.95, so you're going to see that dwindle. But what you're looking at mostly is the income base right here. So this is why people get in, is to have a guaranteed income, right, for the rest of their life that they can't outgrow. And you'll notice even if this goes down based on no market growth, you see this, like look at year 80, right? He had 90, in his actual account is only 41,000, right? But he'll be able to pull 6.75 on that income base, which is right here. So he would have 10,000 each year if he waited to age 80. Okay, so that's just the guarantee. You can touch on that. The next page here, so now we're on page 10. You can see that this is the aggregate account summary based on current rates. So they have, below this page, they have some graphs that you can take a look at to see what the historicals are. They take the lowest 10 years in history, the highest 10 years, the average, based on the accounts that we picked for this illustration. All right, so here you are, you've put in your 90. You can kind of see, same thing, we're looking at the account value, the vested account value, the minimum guarantee surrender value. Remember, we have surrender charges in that, and the cash surrender value and the death benefit, which will be exactly with what you have in your account, and then the income base. So this is what they're going to draw this 3.75% from. Okay, so in this case here, if in year 1 they said, okay, that 90,000, I want to start using it immediately, which of course they don't ever advise that until they're 59 and a half, right? Because they're going to be paying a penalty if they take it out. But they would be able to have a withdrawal of 3,616 that first year, and that would go every single year. But this is really a long-term strategy. It's not something that we're putting in right now and just starting to take out immediate. So if we look at age 70 where we looked before, so this is now growing at 5.75, and they have the 389, essentially in the 20 years, that's the cap that it's going to be for the income base. In his account, truly, he has 159, but they have given him that added bonus each year. So he is now at 389, and at that age 70, he can take out about $22,000 based on this assumptive growth that they're using based on their historicals. So if he was to do that, and at that point with growth he had 159, and he was taking out 23, just to even make up his investment in growth, he's pretty much just 7 years in. But the thing is, he gets that for every single year, which is nice, right? That's the benefit of it, is it guarantees that income for the rest of your life. So let's say we had some horrible years over here and this money just dwindled down and you ran out of money, you would continue to get, whatever year you've turned this on, you would continue to get that payment out every single year for the rest of your life. So again, it is important to know you kind of hit that age where the money jumps up, and it is about every five years. Okay. Now if we go along here a little bit more, you're going to see the historicals that I was talking about. Value market adjustments, it talks about that. Okay, it talks about what they're looking at. A guaranteed rate, the most recent scenario, the lowest scenario, the highest scenario. It talks about terms here, what they're basing that off of. So if you look at this, this is based on the allocations that we put in for the annual point-to-point, the monthly point-to-point, the gold, the real estate. Okay, so if we look at that, we're going to be able to see the guaranteed rate, which we've already looked at, and we're going to look at what these are for the guaranteed, right? So on the guaranteed rate, that's what your $90,000 would do, and that would be your lifetime withdrawal if you did it at age 51, which is the first year. So you can look at these 10 years. And then, of course, the most recent, you can see if you looked at the most recent, you can see that number all the way down and what the lifetime withdrawal benefit would be. And then you could look at the lowest scenario. So that based on the past years, this is the lowest scenario. And then you could look at the highest scenario. Okay, so even if you look at our most recent scenario, it's pretty close to the highest scenario. So if that's the case, that in the 10 years on the highest scenario, he would be looking at $11,000 per year. So that's awesome. And you can see what they're showing you the percentage to be. So on the lowest scenario, it's 7%. The most recent is 7.5. So there you go. I mean, that's pretty awesome. If you look at the highest scenario, you can see gotten well over 7%, which I know that on at least the Prosperity Elite, it's a 7% roll up. Okay, so this is just showing you by the graph. And then it's going to show you each account. Okay, so this one is, let me see, what is this one? Hypothetical. Actually, I'm not sure. Based on stated assumptions. Okay, this is where I was trying to go to. Okay, so this is showing you and breaking it out to the S&P 1-year annual point-to-point. Okay, so it's going to show you every account that we put in here. So there's that one. You can take a look at the low scenario, the high scenario, and see what it's done. This is the monthly. Remember, that's a 2% cap. So the most recent scenario, which is the 2005 to 2015, they came out with 2.23%. And the lowest scenario was 0.98%. You can see the years where that was the lowest. And then the highest scenario happens to be pretty close to right before the most recent, 1995 to 2005, and that was right here, the 1.82%. Okay. If you look down here a little bit more, there's the gold. So you can see the gold. You just read it the same way. Here's the most recent, the lowest, and the highest. And here's the real estate. Again, that's been our highest performer. So it's a great place to put. Just remember that your clients, when they see their annual statement, they're not going to see any of your, they're not going to see any interest credited for 5 years. Sometimes that's hard for people. It could be the longest 5 years when you sit down with them, but it really is a great account. And so you want to take a look at that, those hypothetical examples. And that's really for you. I mean, that's for you to look at and understand. The way that you offer it to people is you explain the ins and outs. Well, first of all, you see what your clients' needs are, right? You want to see if they're someone who just likes that stability, they love a 7%, then maybe you look at the Prosperity Elite annuity. Or if they are young and they're like, you know what, I can probably get more, and I like playing that market and having more option, then this might be a great one for them. Okay, so this is really, I just want to show you how you read it and how you illustrate it. Next week, we will go over kind of like a mock-up CNA and talk about, take a real client and talk about what they need, what we've done with them with their debt, what we've done with them with their services, and we get to that point where we see that they have some old money to roll over. We also want to open up an IUL, reallocate some money. So we're going to do more of a case study and show you an example of this as well. Maybe even use a different indexed annuity other than Performance Pro. So I hope that's helped you guys a little bit and knowing how to illustrate and giving you some tips. Definitely want to play around with this today and this week before next week, so you have a good baseline on how you illustrate that. Do one if you can. Do one where you don't have a well, you might you have to put in at least 10,000, so you do a lump sum of 10,000, but then play around with the premiums and see what they would get if they put their Jeep bonus here in the specified premiums. Play around with it with the premium allocation. Maybe you want to see, instead of the annual point-to-point, you want to look at a 3-year spread here and the real estate. Play with those around and see what kind of numbers you come up with and see which ones what you like. Anyway, hopefully that helped you guys tonight. I hope you have a wonderful night. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week. Have a great one. Bye.